Okay guys, welcome back to another one here on the channel. A comment I get very often about my new car is why didn't I get the old M140i, the 3 litre rear wheel drive, stupid car, fun car. I've got the question probably more than all the other questions about this car. So today we're going to be answering essentially why didn't I go for the old shape, the previous generation. Why did I go for a brand new, essentially lesser car, which it isn't at all. I'm going to go into I'm going to be doing a first drive soon, just saying is exactly how good this car is. It got a lot of hate, which we're going to be talking about in this video. It got a lot of hate because people were comparing it to the original one. Let's just sit in the car. It got a lot of hate because it was being compared to the original one, which part of me understands because obviously it's a 1 Series at the end of the day. It's the next generation of essentially a perfect car. But I think we all knew the last generation, it wasn't going to last. I think rear wheel drive in a hot hatch, it was the craziest, coolest thing any manufacturer has ever done. But in the real world, it was never gonna last. Before we get into it, leave a like and subscribe. All support is appreciated. Comment your thoughts on this car as well. It gets a lot of controversial opinions. I find the people who have owned it stand by it, and the people who haven't owned it seem to think it's the worst thing ever, which I guess that says a lot about the car as well. When this car first came out, obviously, as I said, it was compared to the previous one. It got a lot of hate because it's 2 litre 4-wheel drive, or essentially front wheel drive. It's really not what the previous generation was, and I think people just couldn't really wrap their head around it because the previous generation was just so cool. But as I said, it was never going to last with emissions and laws, and your nan wants to own a sporty 1 Series. She doesn't know it's rear wheel drive, takes it out in the rain, spins it round, all that kind of stuff. So the question, why didn't I get previous generation M140 or even an M135i? I can tell you why I didn't get the 135i. The engines in them, the N55, worst engines ever. I don't care what anyone says, they are so bad. If you haven't had a problem yet, you're gonna have a problem. It's as simple as that. So let's just talk about the 140. I also think you only go for the old shape 135 if you can't afford or stretch to the 140. I don't really get it because the 140's got the better engine, better sound. Anyway, why didn't I get an old 140? So the first major selling point of this car for me was the interior. I think it looks so nice. Obviously you've got the updated steering wheel. The biggest thing for me is the updated screen. I think the old screen, well, the old interior as a whole is a bit old, but the old screen was just so bad. You couldn't really do much with it either. It's not massive improvements everywhere, but it's small improvements everywhere which do add up. Another thing is the seats. Now the old 140 seats, they look like they're from the 116. I think some people actually say the 140 is basically a 116 with a different engine, whereas these seats are proper like M seats. You know, you've got the M stitching here, you've got the M stitching on the seat belts. I think a lot more thought went into this, whereas I think the previous years it was still a 1 Series, so it didn't really need much thought. It was still the entry level, whereas this car, it feels like a lot of thought has gone into it, and you don't feel like you're driving a bottom of the food chain car, if that makes sense. So a major thing was the interior. Another thing, the unique factor. I could get a 140 and probably get a black one like with a shadow pack or whatever it's called. How many of them have you seen? Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to grow my channel, and obviously this car is for me, but it's already done somewhat good on the channel. So I think with all the love and all the hate, it's definitely getting people interested because you know all about the old shape. You've seen 1,000 of them every day. We've seen them being built, we've seen them being drifted, we've seen them being crashed, we've seen everything. You haven't really seen any, especially me, I haven't really seen any content on this car, which is why it kind of swayed me to get the new shape. The only content we see on them is people slagging them off and comparing it to the old shape. But how does this car actually cope as its own car? Because there's no way it can be all bad. And as I said, I'm going to be doing a driving video soon, but I can promise you this car is not all bad. In fact, it's really good. I'm not by any means saying that the old shape is bad, or like I'd still have one in a blink of an eye. And that's another thing that I don't understand. People were saying, oh, you couldn't afford the 140 or went for the bottom. This is more expensive than the 140. If I wanted the 140, I would have got it when I sold my Golf. Like, without making it too crude about finances, a 140, yes, it's not cheap, but this is almost twice the price of a good spec 140. So I don't really know where that mindset comes into things. But yeah, as I was saying, the old 140, I'm not saying it's bad at all. In fact, I'd have one. It's a really cool car. You don't really see these kind of cars come about anymore. In fact, it was a one-off as it was. I just think it's not really my kind of car, because obviously I need an everyday car. I run a business, and this is the car that I might be taking customers' plates to their house with and stuff. And a 3-litre car, yes, you might go to a car meet and it's the coolest thing ever, but for everyday use, I feel like I've grown out of the loud, stupid cars, and this is like a refined car. You put it in Eco Pro, you wouldn't even know it wasn't a 118. Then you put it in Sport, and then you understand. So I think for me personally, this car is the best of all worlds. I'm not saying it's more fun. I'm not saying it's quicker, although I personally think anywhere other than a straight line, this car would definitely give the old shape a run for its money. But that's a story for another day. Obviously, the old car is technically the better car if you're trying to have fun. But I think for everyday overall use, I think this is the better car. You get the nice interior. Whether people want to disagree with me or not, you do get the nice looks. I think this car does look good. Obviously, the previous shape, I'd argue the 140 is like a timeless shape. I do think this shape will age, but for now, it looks good. Listen, at the end of the day, it's personal preference, but I truly think there becomes a point where you can't really compare the old shape to this shape, because they're not trying to be the same car. Yes, it's still got the badge of a 1 Series. It's essentially the next car, but they've moved forward. The 3-litre has gone. It's not coming back, so get over it. that is the most commonly asked question that I get asked, so I thought I'd answer it. As I said, if I wanted a 140, I would have had one. It's just not really the car for me. It's fun at car meets, but outside of that, I don't know. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, leave a like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again. Cheers.